Hello friends, I am Dr. Rakesh Jain. Welcome to this knowledge on feedback based governance. This is a governance system which has been used in India for thousands of years long back, but right now we are utilizing the governance system which has been passed on to us by the uh, countries who ruled us. You know what I mean to say. But if we switch over to the original ancient Indian feedback based governance, then definitely it will do miracles. I tell how it works. This is applicable to organizations as well as governments as well as individuals, and now I am telling the detail of it. The success of organizations depends largely on how its employees contribute to its sustainable growth and profitability. Similarly, popularity of governments depends mainly on what the general public feels about them. In the same way, our success on personal and professional fronts depends largely on effectiveness of our decisions and how they affect others. All these depend on our ability to take others along with us as a team, making them feel that we care and information available for taking right decisions. If the information is not available timely, definitely we will not be able to take right decisions. This becomes possible due to effectiveness of our communication, feedback and decision making skills. These have to be learned to be a successful uh, feedback handler. The organizations, governments, and people have to solve various problems and work on many suggestions for improvements. They may not always be able to do it themselves and need others' help. Connecting to the right person at right time to find right solutions timely is thus very important. It becomes easy if we can connect with those who can help us. Most organizations, governments, and individuals fail or just pull on due to their inability to connect with the right people at right time. Another cause for such failures is our inability to know the ground realities. Thus, the growth of organizations, individuals, and nations is adversely affected if people and their leaders lose touch with other people and the ground realities. Normally, misunderstanding and mental blocks do not allow such connections to happen. People may feel that others would not listen to them or are not approachable. They may even be afraid that interacting with these people who can help will complicate the matters further. Many organizations fail to receive feedback from employees and external stakeholders like government, suppliers, and contractors, etc. Similarly, governments may fail to know the sufferings, concerns, and suggestions of the general public. When this happens, everybody labels most problems as politics and bad behavior, though they are due to the failure of communication and feedback. The fact, however, is that generally people are good, they have good intentions, but due to inability to handle the feedback or communication properly, they are not able to demonstrate it. Thus, instead of rejecting others, it is better to make everybody act in a desirable manner. We all tend to believe that what we see is the truth, and hence, if someone disagrees, he must be wrong. This happens because our perceptions do not allow us to see others' viewpoint. People come from different backgrounds and hence they are bound to see the things differently. For example, if one believes that someone always complains, then even his genuine issues may be ignored. Though communication and feedback, we persuade others to do what we want to do. So, it is communication and feedback through which we persuade others to do what is required to be done, what we feel they should do. But if someone is not interested, getting him interested is an important skill. We have to convince such people that our advice would benefit them. The right approach normally is to find how to make others listen instead of exercising your authority. The top people in organizations and governments often fail to connect with others because as people rise up the ladder, they tend to become loners. They become alone. They are isolated from the people. More or less, they become alone. So they get information only through people who interact with them. This disconnects them from the ground realities and most people in their organizations or nations whose life is affected by their decisions. Establishing touch and maintaining that connection is essential. It is also important to find when to give feedback and time available for the same, whether to decide based on our own experience and wisdom or others' feedback. Obtaining regular feedback or allowing it just to come on its own. Knowing differences in decision making styles of different people and that of government, public, and private sector organizations is also very important. Now I tell some real case studies out of over 100 cases which are covering around 300 persons, and these are mentioned in details in my book, about which details are given in the details of this video. These will also be there in the course which I am going to publish. The book will be on amazon.com and the course will be on udemy.com. First, I am talking about experience with how our police departments are helpless due to ineffective laws and pressure tactics of the powerful and rich people. Once I had to go to a rich friend. I have given them serial number, so because I don't want to disclose their identity, it is not ethical. So I called this friend as 61 and I had gone to him for an urgent work. When I reached his home and pressed the call bell, his aged father, I have given him serial number 62, came out to open the door. Without verifying about me, he asked me to come in and took me to the drawing room. While I was waiting for my friend, I asked the elderly man why he allowed me to come in when he did not even know anything about me. He said that he had been a teacher all his life, and from my face itself he could judge that I was a good person. So this is the approach which I liked a lot. In the meantime, my friend came, and after talking to him for some time about an urgent matter, I left for my home, remembering the kind treatment which was given to me by my friend's father. Now it so happened that after a few months I had to again visit the same friend, and this time the door was opened by the maidservant. While waiting in the drawing room, I was looking around for the elderly gentleman, that is my friend's father, but he was nowhere to be seen. In the meantime, my friend, who was busy talking to someone, came and ordered for tea for both of us. Now I could not control myself and inquired about my friend's father. Very sadly, he told me that his father died in a road accident just 1 kilometer away from his home. What was told to me is not only an eye opener for all of us, including our leaders, policy makers, police officials, and judiciary, but also talks of ground realities due to which many people suffer. But the problem continues in spite all the big talk we hear and we make every day. I feel we all must stand still, wait for a moment, and think what we Indians have become in 70 years of independence. Even in spite 70 years of independence, this is what we are. Now my friend told me that his father would usually go to the nearby market to purchase household items, in spite his repeated requests to go only in the car kept in the home with the driver. Unfortunately, that day too he went walking, and just before entering the market, he was hit by a car driven by a boy, definitely a non-adult, and hence not with a driving license, which drove away immediately. The old man was lying unconscious on the road for half an hour, but no one came forward to take him to the doctor or hospital. Later, some known person informed the family, who brought him dead to the home. Police case could not trace the culprit as there was no clue to trace the person. My friend told me that he still finds many young children who drive without a valid driving license, and they are definitely less than even the age of 15 sometimes. Police too is helpless in front of powerful and rich people, as well as the anti-social elements who are protected by the powerful people, who force police to immediately release the culprits. In spite all the big talk and court orders, anybody who takes the injured to the hospital will be asked to wait till the police arrives. Not only this, the police will then debate under whose police station the place of accident falls, and this is followed by a series of harassment to the person who made the mistake. I will call it a mistake of taking the injured to the hospital. That person wanted to help, but then he starts facing the difficulties. This is not the only incident to prove that people have lost faith in the officials who do not hear, police who would not act, and systems which are insensitive to the common man who is facing so much 365 days a year and 24 hours of the day. But we all keep quiet because it has happened with someone else, not with me. The ground realities of all government assurances of no trouble to people who help the accident victims are proved by a multi-city survey which was reported in Times of India dated 27/11/2018. This revealed that 8 out of 10 Indians are unaware of the 2016 Good Samaritan law that encourages citizens to help accident victims without fear of police harassment. The report said that 59% of the Good Samaritans interviewed reported that they were detained by the police despite the law forbidding it. Also, many cops admitted taking their personal details. Knowing the above, will you be able to help and save a life like that of my friend's father? Now I tell one more such information which is related to this, related to ground realities. In a municipality, the district commissioner made a very big claim that there were no ditches on the road, there were no stray animals moving around, and all these things which trouble general public. People fall in the open sewer manholes, and these stray animals, they hit them. But what happened, the media, those people and the social media, they created around 50 photographs of stray animals and open ditches in that area within a week and posted it on social media. So everybody understands the tall claims are made while sitting in air conditioned offices without checking the ground realities. The person somewhere gives a wrong information, and our senior officials many a times simply pass it on to the public without verifying it themselves. Now compare it with the ancient Indian kings. They used to move around and check for themselves whether their administration is really doing a good job or they are just giving them a wrong information. Now I cite another case here, which is again a real life case study. It's a very disturbing experience of a friend. I have given him serial number 57 to show what difficulties public faces when with government departments and social issues, and how these can be handled well through effective life skills and feedback based governance. My friend's son, I have given him serial number 58, was facing a serious medical problem due to which he was forced to get a medical help that needed government permission. After completing medical formalities in the hospital, he applied for government clearances, which were to be given by many government departments. When his application was sent by the hospital to the first government department for clearance, the dealing clerk demanded a favor. And it was difficult for my friend to give the favor because already he was spending a lot on his son's treatment. So he tried to talk to that gentleman and asked him to help him, but he did not help. Then he went to his seniors. His seniors also did not give him time to talk. So finally, what he did, he went there next day. Next day, they told that they are in a meeting. The senior people, they told that we are in a meeting and you can come next week. Now it was very difficult for him. So he went back to the same clerk who had demanded some favors. This person said that everybody is in my group and you will not get any help from anybody. So you better pay the favors. So finally, he somehow bargained with the clerk and settled for half the favor which was originally demanded. And the promise was that within the 2 weeks time, this papers, his file will go to the next department. When he contacted the next government department after 2 weeks, he was asked to come after 1 week. Since his case did not reach the next department even in 3 weeks, he again contacted the clerk in the first department to find why his clearance was getting delayed, in spite of the favor which he had paid to the clerk. He was then given the document for clearance by hand and asked to submit the same to the next department, which was to process his case further. He did this and was asked to come back after 2 weeks. After 2 weeks of submitting the document, he inquired about the clearance from the next department. He was shocked to find that the clerk in the first department had done a mistake. Mistake was intentional for the obvious reasons in the document, due to which his case was going to be rejected. Frustrated, he went back to the same clerk in the first department. He was again shocked to hear from that clerk that job is done as per the favor given. So the error was due to his paying half the demanded favor. When he pleaded about his son's condition, the clerk was kind enough, I will say kind enough, to advise that he should bring back the document with error, pay the balance favor which was originally demanded, and take the corrected document and then resubmit it to the next department. When he acted as per the advice, he was further shocked to find that the clerk in the next department too asked for a similar favor to give back the documents. Now he had no courage or time left to bargain with all these people, and somehow he did the needful. We use this word very commonly in government departments, do the needful. So he did the needful, means whatever was demanded he gave. And for that he had to borrow some money from somebody because he was spending a lot on his son's treatment. He was then given the document back by hand, which was corrected by the clerk in the first department and given by hand to resubmit it to the next department. Now he was wise enough to handle the government departments and the people there, and finally he got the clearance by hand as a special gesture. But this lack of wisdom cost him 3 months delay, expenses for continuing costly treatment for his son, harassment due to the repeated visits to these departments, and anxiety and pain which he, his son, and his entire family had to go through with a seriously sick boy in the family. And this all happened at the hands of the government department whose in charge was a minister well known for integrity and honesty. Everybody knows about that person's integrity and honesty. There are many such incidents to prove that honesty and commitment only at the top level may not help to change the people or stop such practices. One human being is exploiting the misery of another. Even vultures, what we call vultures, they will not do like this. I remember a case when a vulture was waiting for a poor girl in Ethiopia to die because he would not kill a living person. This photograph taken by a photographer became so famous, and when this photographer was interviewed by a TV channel about the awards which he was winning on that photograph, then a news person, the person who was interviewing him, he told him that there were two vultures, not one, and the one vulture had a camera in his hand. So that person meant to say that instead of taking the photographs, if we had taken that poor girl who was going to die after a few hours, if he could have taken that girl to a nearby hospital, then maybe her life could have been saved. But he was more interested in taking photograph of that dying girl and making it public to win an award. This troubled his conscience so much that he committed his suicide. But are there such people with such a conscience? Let us see. Have we human gone still worse than such vultures? Many of us come across such cases in spite all the talk of government of the people, by the people, for the people throughout the world. Is there anyone to stop this harassment faced by those not in power due to some insensitive, indifferent and corrupt people who are in power? All the efforts of governments world over, though all through all those vigilance departments, crime investigation departments, and so many other departments which they have created, they have failed to correct the dishonest people, and they continue to exploit the people who are facing some problem by misusing their position and powers. Now, this particular thing, let us not lose the faith in humanity. Let us still feel that humanity has to be there, and we have to find out how to handle this type of situations. I am here to prove now that it is not only possible but was also demonstrated in the same government department by another friend, based on the discussion which we had on a similar problem which he was facing. Now this friend, I am giving him serial number 59, and based on my feedback based governance model which I am talking to you now, that is the topic of this video which I have made for you, and on the basis of plain common sense. So on the basis of principle of feedback based governance and plain common sense, he handled this problem very wisely. Now I describe how he handled it. He was handling the same corrupt government officials for obtaining a clearance for a similar medical problem for his son. I have given a serial number 60 to this boy. Based on the feedback of my earlier friend through me, he decided to find references with senior officers of all the government departments who had to process his case. Then those senior officers simply called those very dealing clerks who had harassed my first friend and asked them to help him. In spite this, just like the first case, the clerks demanded the favors. Now instead of obliging them, my friend told this to those senior officers. Now these senior officers called the clerks, and instead of making much fuss about what favor you were demanding and all that, they simply told that this person is a family friend and he must be helped, and please ensure that this job is done today. Now the clerks had no option other than obliging my second friend. So the clearance document was obtained from the first department and submitted to the next department within 2 weeks. He got motivated to do the same trick in next department, and here too the clearance was obtained timely and by the intervention of the senior officers. He thus saved 2 months of harassment and expenses on the treatment, besides the favors which my first friend had to give. Don't you think these two real cases have a lesson for us, the general public, our lawmakers, senior government officials, and some of the most honest men and women who are in power today in some states and also in central government, including some ministers, chief minister, and even our prime minister? But you may ask me, how this trick would work for those who do not have such contacts. Or what if the government officials are too corrupt to handle, or the systems and procedures are too complicated. This just is the issue which forms the basis of the feedback based governance system which is proposed by me at Annexure 1 of my book published on Amazon, and its title is Right Communication and Feedback for Natural Leadership. This is published on Amazon, as I told. I am shortly going to publish a course on this on udemy.com, and now I am telling it here in this video in short. So what follows from this is the answer which works on the principle that in this universe everything is there. This universe contains everything, like good or bad, like right and wrong, and hence also the problem and the solution. So if there is a problem in this universe, there is a solution to that problem also. This universe has opposites, this side and that side combined together. Thus, if someone has a problem, there is always a solution for it. The only action required by the governments, by the organization leaders, and by us, the individuals, is that we should connect the person with the problem with the person who has the solution. Now, what I mean to say about this, I will tell to you. This is, as I told, this is true for organizations, whether in private sector or public sector, as well as the governments all over the world at state and central level or federal level. So, the person in trouble, that is the feedback provider, the person who handles his feedback about the problem, I call him feedback handler, deputed to help him, and the feedback receiver, which is deputed by the person who heads an organization or a government department to take up the issues with the concerned officials. They should act as a team. So FP, feedback provider, FH, feedback handler, and FR, feedback receiver, they form a team. They form a team to solve the problem which is faced by the person about whom we are talking, that is feedback, the person who is having the problem, person who is providing the feedback about the problem. Now, if they are able to solve the problem, like in case of my friend second case, they will convey the success stories by displaying it on their website to encourage others facing the similar problems along with lessons learned and suggest system improvements so that none else faces the same problem again. If they fail to do so, as happened in the case of my first friend, then they should submit a failure report. In both the cases, their feedback would be studied by the feedback closers. I call the head of the organization or head of the concerned ministry in the government, head feedback closers. They will be seeing what feedback is coming to them from this team, and they will either close the feedback because everybody is satisfied and lessons learned are well in place, or they will submit the failure report. Now this failure report will definitely go to the head of the organization. Suppose there is a private company, public sector company, whatever it is. That failure report will go to the top level or a proposed ministry in the government which I call Ministry of People's Feedback. Now these people will then debate to find out with all the stakeholders what should be done so that no one else in the world, that is in their country or whatever government it is or the organization, they faces the problem again. Now you may say there are so many online systems government has created world over and this is going to help. But I may add here that these online computer systems which are so dear to the governments and organizations world over can help only in case of simple problems like processing of medical bills in organizations or lodging complaints of power supply failure, etc. for the general public. But feedback-based governance system suggested by me shall solve complex problems faced by the people in society or employees in the organizations by changing the systems, procedures, and the people who really matter. This is what I have tried to convince you about the feedback-based governance. So what happens is that the people who are there at the back end of the computerized systems, they are the same. Suppose somebody is facing the problem, then computer will be there to lodge the complaint. Complaint will go to the concerned person. That person will create it, move it. He'll keep the moving the problem in circles and circles, and ultimately people will fed up and then they'll just leave. That is what the corrupt people do. They will not solve the problem. They use the delay tactics, and ultimately you will have to feel that nothing is going to happen. So okay, let me compromise with the corrupt people. Now, can anyone say for sure that in a corporate, the topmost man knows about the feelings of the bottommost man? We all know the answer. It is just a big no. He may not even know his name, what to talk of his family or his other vital concerns. Rather, today we train our managers to throw out the employees when required at short notice and just not care for them. Just pay their dues and send them out. Further, we have created so many hierarchies and levels in the organizations and the departments due to which people are not able to communicate properly. This has made communication and feedback networks so complex that it is impossible for the bottommost man to even think of approaching the topmost man. Similarly, the common man is cut off from the today's rulers, whom we call as ministers. This isolates them from each other and then the people in the layers in between, who may not possess the wisdom of the topmost man. After all, if the person is reaching the topmost position, he has some wisdom. So that wisdom is lacking in the people in between, and then they keep driving the top man by giving whatever information they have, and they keep on telling what they feel about the situations. This perhaps was the reason why the ancient Indian kings hanged a bell outside their palace by ringing which anyone could reach them, talk to them, and tell his problem or suggestions. We all know how Ram respected the public sentiments and feelings expressed through a Lokapvad, a sort of public agitation of that time against his decision of keeping Sita as his wife after he rescued her from Ravan. We all know that kings like Chandragupta used to move around in disguise to know how their administration worked. Things have changed as our ministers are not physically as strong as Ram or Chandragupta were, but we have technology like computerized systems, social media, and whatnot to handle it as effectively as ancient Indian kings used to do. And that is what I have described in detail in feedback based governance. If required, I can provide more details for those who are interested to implement such a system in their organizations or in their governments or wherever they want. The system proposed by me is a equivalent of the feedback based governance of ancient Indian kings in today's time. It is well known that as one goes up the ladder in the organization, in spite his best efforts, he loses touch with the bottommost man and ground realities due to more and more work and busy life. But this is not the only reason, and creation of a mechanism to solve this ever widening gap requires an in depth analysis. What then about the public governance at villages, district level, state level, and national and international levels in our time, which is much more complex? Let me clarify here that the urgent need to create such a mechanism is there, and it is not only for religious feelings or a welfare measure, but it is mainly for our long term sustainable development, and that applies to the organizations, to the society, to the nations, to the individuals, everybody. This will ensure overall happiness for the people. Are our organizational and national leaders listening to what I am telling? Just by being honest themselves or working 20 hours a day or shouting at the dishonest or just threatening them in a person, some of the most honest people presume that everybody will become like them and they will be correcting the people. But this way they will never be able to make others honest or reduce the crime. This is already proved by the example of full 5-year tenure of Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee as India's Prime Minister and Sri Abdul Kalam Azad as the President of India. All know about their integrity and honesty and total commitment to the nation and how much hard work they did for welfare of the country. Further, both remained unmarried as they wanted to serve the nation. They had no interest. Just like our Prime Minister and some Chief Ministers and some ministers in some states. In spite this, not even 1% reduction in crime or corruption was noticed in their full 5-year tenure as PM and President. And the same continues. The top man is honest, but the things don't change. And this has to be changed, then it is only through the feedback based governance. Now, such a system can solve the menace of corruption and crime also. It is well known fact that only 2% people who are in power are hardcore corrupt or criminals minded people. The other 8% are extremely honest and nobody will be able to make them corrupt. The balance 90% people are the fence sitters. They are a floating population. They will see the opportunity. If there is no risk of getting caught, then they will be acting corrupt or criminal minded. If there is a risk of getting caught, they will be acting as a honest person. So they are sitting on a fence, this way, that way. They'll keep on moving. So once there is a fear of getting caught or getting exposed, then they will be acting honest. So feedback based governance, the system which I have described earlier, FP, FH, FC and FR, that system will ensure that such people are afraid of getting corrupt, getting exposed. So 90% people will not act corrupt out of fear. The 8% are already honest, so 98% will act honest, and only 2% hardcore corrupt people will be there, and it is very easy to handle 2% people. That perhaps was the principle used by all the ancient kings in India, who ensured that there was least corruption in ancient India. All this corruption was unheard of at that time. But it all happened after we were invaded by the people, and our original cultures, our original systems were badly destroyed. They were just finished off, so that India goes into a era of darkness, and that is what we are going through. But my whole purpose of making this discussion with you is to make us come out of that darkness. So what I conclude is that we must therefore switch from the present imported governance system to ancient Indian feedback based governance that connects everybody with everyone. India can then showcase how to govern rightly to the whole world. We have that wisdom. Let us implement it. Let us show to the whole world that it's such a successful system, and whole governments in the world would love to do such a thing. So I thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel with name Dr. Rakesh Jain PhD to know about more such issues that can make you and those around you happier and peaceful. My whole purpose, whole labor of making this video and doing so much of study on feedback and communication and decision making, doing research on that will be successful if our people, our leaders can understand that this is essential and they implement a feedback based governance system. So I thank you very much. This is Dr. Rakesh Jain.